Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching Feud, Season 2. I think I said Season 1 before. Season 2 episode. Or is this, I don't know, limited series? Season
Whatever.
2.
Ice water in their veins. Forget it.
We do spiritually and canonically pick up where we left off, which is after the Esquire story. And the ladies have closed ranks. I don't know. I still don't fully get what he was. He wrote an expose. That's not that he goes on about, and a lot of people go on and on about how he's like an artist and like the price you pay and I was like, I mean, I get it, but the fucking, I don't know, allegory, metaphor, something, and
well, at two different points in the episode, a woman has the correct reaction because Chloe Sevigny is like, what? You didn't even have the good grace to change some of our names in this. Like, you couldn't even keep up the facade enough to change some of our names.
Tabloid. Like, that's not, there's no high art in tabloid.
Yeah. And then when Jack calls Babe later and she's like, oh, please, because he's a genius, it's to be excused. And Jack is very like, no, of course not. But like, he's in this bad way. And it's like, I mean, he made himself in that bad way. It's like, he's done this to himself.
Yeah, I don't know. I as annoying as I find him and the plot of the show, I am still very in it. I'm very in
it's
the
more
fantasy of it.
It's more focused on the women, too, which is like, he's there, obviously, but it's like, it's more focused on them, which is helpful.
I can't imagine being that what is his goal? What is his thing with John O'Shea, with Russell Tovey? Has he left his family?
Well, he's certainly not spending Thanksgiving with them, if we know one thing.
Because I'm like, you're spending a lot of time with this, like, boyfriend of yours.
Well, I think he's been kind of put in charge of his like, dealings or whatever.
But they are also very clearly sleeping with each other. Like, it feels like an ongoing
all
thing.
he talks about is his uncut horse cock
that he's slinging around.
More than once!
In front of Phyllis Diller. Now, she's a lady who I feel like knows her way around a horse cock, but...
You leave the good name of Phyllis Diller out of this.
We are at Joanne Carson's house, who is a person that I suddenly care very deeply about.
She can send her thanks to Molly Ringwald.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, we did meet Callista Flockhart and Molly Ringwald in this. Callista Flockhart is Jackie O's sister?
Yeah.
She's a Bouvier.
Yeah.
And
Caroline Lee Bouvier.
Uh-huh. And Molly Ringwald is Joanne Carson, who is Johnny Carson's first wife. And according to, I won't get into it because we don't know to what extent the show might get into it, but according to Kristen, she has quite the story.
What a life.
Life well lived.
Okay, here's the thing, is like, I need, because like, just everything is centered around men, and it, in the whole world, and it drives me crazy, because like, we watched Killers of the Flower Moon, and...
Just long fart noise, long mellow fart noise.
Look, Martin Scorsese knows how to make a movie, but it's infuriating because the whole time that the movie is happening, you're like, wow, this indigenous woman is really like trying super hard to make sure the murders of all of her kin are like investigated in any capacity. And then the movie just didn't even have the balls to do that. And so then I go back, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about Hamilton, where it's like you finally get to the end and you're like, where was Eliza's musical? You're like, this final song about Eliza, she had such a cool life.
Write a hip opera about Dolly Madison. That's the story I want.
Fucking... What's her name? Lincoln? Mary Todd Lincoln? It's just unbelievable the way that so many of these stories are centered around men. Which of these men had a fucking lesbian affair with a pre-fame Kim Basinger? Zero of them. Well, it was Johnny Carson's ex-wife.
Well, I was gonna say, neither did she, apparently.
Well, she tried.
Yeah, she was unsuccessful in her courtship.
I don't know. It's just, that's the kind of stuff where it's like, that's, again, to talk about what I did in the first episode, it's like the stuff like that and the stuff like this is like why we allow Ryan Murphy to keep doing stuff. Because it's like, you get Connie Britton to play Faye Resnick. I saw her on an episode of Housewives and I was like, that is not a white woman. I don't know what Connie Britton was doing anywhere near her.
Amazing. Is what she was doing. I mean, obviously. Amazing. Eating baby fucking carrots is what she was doing.
Regardless, it's like, you know, I've never heard of most of these women. And so it's like the fact that he is looking for these, you know, people where it's like, sure, we know who Joan Crawford and Bette Davis are, but it's like nobody had ever really delved into that story before. And so I love being able to like see these stories, and especially with women who are the correct age playing these characters. It's just fascinating, especially on the heels of so many things this year, which are the same in the opposite way. Because again, to Killers of the Flower Moon, Lily Gladstone, who was amazing, so much younger than her real life counterpart. And what's her name? Vanessa from Napoleon. Kirby. So much younger than Catherine. And Catherine was older than Napoleon, and Vanessa Kirby's like 15 years younger than Joaquin Phoenix. It's like, why are we doing this? Nobody else was available?
Called. They need their their dynamic back.
It's totally wild. And so it's like, even if this goes totally off the rails, like a classic Brian Murphy project.
This is based in reality.
His reality stuff is much better, but it's like, even if this does go totally off the rails, I will still...
I don't know.
I'm going to hold it in pretty high esteem because look at these women he's got in here.
I was going to say, we had a real... depending on who you are, we had a real Jessica Lange treat or jump scare.
Naughty pie!
I was like, I fucking know that voice.
Why not both?
And that was granted, I didn't consume a lot of the production or the promotion because I was gonna watch it. It was already there, but I did not know that was gonna happen. And
no, me neither.
It was like, ah! It was good. I enjoyed it. It's kind of exactly what I would expect. Like I would almost expect for that to be pitched in a parody. You know, like
it was bordering.
And then Capote has a conversation with his dead, overbearing mother, played by Jessica Lange,
who's like trying to induce him into suicide so that they'll be together again. The other thing too that I love so much is like the name of this episode is Ice Water in Their Veins. However, the warmth that they're displaying to each other is in direct opposition to that.
Well, and to an extent, even him. CZ meets with him.
She does, yeah.
And really kind of is like, oh, you know.
At the risk of being shunned herself.
Fool me six times, shame on you.
Well, but she's not letting him get away with it.
No.
She just is like, what did you think was, like, she's kind of reading him the riot act, too.
It's Callista, it's Lee, and then it's Slim.
Yeah.
Diane Lane are the ones that are so
like, no.
rigid. And
well, because the episode opens at Anne's funeral.
Where her son let them have it.
He really did.
Oh,
he was good looking too.
Because which one?
His name is Hudson Oz.
What was it? Was it Slim? One of them was like, no one did a Passover of this.
Yeah,
of this eulogy.
No one vetted this.
Well, we did find out that Babe has cancer,
lung cancer,
presumably lung cancer, and she is going through
chemo.
I thought they said she wasn't doing chemo. Or they said,
she is doing
chemo different than radiation?
Radiation is like lasers, basically.
Okay.
Chemo is the poison in the IV. And she was like, when should I expect to lose my hair? And the nurse was like, this is a lot gentler than the radiation, so you'll probably be fine. It really depends. It's very individual how you react to it, like with regards to losing your hair and stuff. Not everybody does, even with chemo and radiation. So,
but it apparently, I mean, she is handling. You're right. You're so right about how warm the episode was, both
especially Slim
and literally. Yeah.
Oh well, visually, because
there's an entire conversation about
light bulbs,
about lighting.
It was good.
Which is part of a show like this
Yeah.
that's dealing with women of a certain age.
Yeah.
But no, it's apparently bringing Babe and Bill closer together, which, as I understand it, what?
It's unlikely that would actually have happened. He's more likely to divorce her.
If you're going to come in here and talk about statistics, whatever, in my experience, people can surprise you with what.
I mean, fine. I almost had a goddamn heart attack. At the beginning, she's like having her first treatment, and she's like, okay, no, it's unacceptable. He's an adult man. He runs a television station, and she is more worried about trying to help him feed his own grandkids than she is about doing this treatment. It's unacceptable. And also, his wanting to be there for all of her treatments and stuff, in my opinion, she seems to be accepting of it and being very gracious.
It was her words.
It was her words. If it was me, I would be like, why don't you go find Happy Rockefeller?
I'm starting to... I think I'm on Happy's side. I'm starting to think that...
Just come in, get your blood all over everywhere, and peace out?
Because again, she said it, and it seemed like, he was present in this episode, and he was being attentive, certainly in the ways that he knew how to.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. He was, he's got to be in his 50s or 60s, and it is the 1970s. So I understand that there is like a disconnect, but that kind of shit is absolutely, because she also, when Slim was there and she was looking at all her jewelry, and she was like, can you please, for the love of Christ, go in the kitchen and figure out how to feed your grandkids for after I'm dead.
But I did like, I liked the conversations that they had in this. Again, goes back to your to your point about the warmth. It was that, because Slim did all of those, like, we're not going to do this now. I'm not going to entertain this conversation. But also, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I mean...
just take a piece of jewelry.
Yeah, which she did. And then gave to CZ. And...
that was a beautiful ruby bracelet.
Wait, where did it come from? Oh, it was from Happy.
It was the Happy, because she was like, almost every single one of these pieces of jewelry was the result of an affair that Bill had, and then she picks up this beautiful bracelet, which I feel like you have to, like, clamp around, because it did not, it didn't, like, drop when she picked it up in the middle. And she was like, that was Happy Rockefeller. I mean, amazing.
So, we did have...
It was just rubies. The color of blood.
Yeah. That was not, it's not subtle.
This is a fun show.
So we do have, Capote is going back and forth. He was filming Murder by Death, which it was very funny. And, I guess, did they say how he knew Joanne?
No. All he said was,
he goes to her house for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, all he says is that she's, like, she's gonna get them on a Pan Am flight.
I love that Thanksgiving is his favorite, and they made such a to-do about that. I just thought it was interesting and character informing, but yeah, he brings John, he brings Russell Tovey.
He punched him so much in the face in this episode.
He deserved, like, 2 of those. I don't know about that.
Maybe the first one.
He likes to talk about his kids.
He was talking shit about his kids.
John made it very clear.
Yeah.
But
so in that case, maybe he deserved the second punch, like the first punch at Joanne's house.
I didn't fully understand what all that was, because, like, John just had, like, a really surly attitude the whole time, and he went at that turkey like it was a fucking Eli Roth movie. I have...
like, it owed him fucking money!
I have no idea what was happening there.
So weird.
Yeah, and his partner, Jack, is trying to get...
Babe.
So, I mean, I guess the pitch that they're going for is that he didn't... I guess they're insinuating that Truman didn't understand the gravity of what he was writing about.
Yeah, and that, again, it's like the whole he's an artist thing, so it's like he didn't really understand the difference between, like, art and reality. Babe is staying strong. She's like, I really don't care, and Jack is like, he's killing himself. Do you really want him to die?
Well, so the thing that I was having the hard time with, especially in the first episode, not so much in this episode, but I was having a hard time wrapping my mind around what specifically is he doing, what does he think he's doing, and what is he trying to accomplish? and you were out of the room for a minute, and Rachel and I were talking about it, and we're like, there's a thrum of misogyny that's happening, and then they went ahead and even brought that up in this episode.
Yeah.
And so I guess my issue, I guess he thinks he's, I don't know that he thinks he's better than them, but it's like he wants, like he gets off on the fact that he's the one that gets to tell these stories.
Well, sure.
So is it that he thinks that the public thinks that he's some kind of like keeper of?
Yeah, he's like an arbiter of, you know, whatever. Because he calls himself the greatest living writer in one of the scenes. The other thing too is that, especially with the scene with his mother, played by Jessica Lange, where she was like, you got what I always wanted, like you did this for me, kind of a thing, where it's like, it's as if she's put all this stuff in his head about like, you have to take down those like uppity bitches who wouldn't let me in their club. And so then they let him in their club and now he's taking them down. Kind of like it's like a 7-layer dip of mommy issue shit. So that kind of stuff is all really interesting in my opinion. And the other thing too, which I don't know how much they're gonna like actually get into this, but when Babe was like, can't you see that he's disgusted with us? Because it's like the way he talked about the menstruation.
I don't think he is. Well, so we didn't read.
Yeah, okay. But it's like the way that she says he talked about the menstruation in the story, and like, just she's like, did nobody else read the disgust in the way he talked about us?
But I almost feel like it's more of a self-sabotage thing, where it's like, even though he is invited to the party, I guess on some level he feels like he can never truly belong, so he wants to take them down before they can betray
Yeah, but that's
him.
I think all of his own making, because in that final scene, when Babe is talking to Bill, she's like, do you really want him to be my second husband again? Like he had it seems that he had no concept of how actually important he was to them. And so it's as if he's like, well, they don't actually really care about me, so it doesn't matter if I do this.
It's like if Hans Christian Andersen was sadistic. Like,
sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, you would think that for someone who always wanted to just be included and invited, like, you would think that getting invited would be enough.
Yeah.
Like,
you're here, bitch, be happy.
And because I even said that out in the kitchen, where I was just like, I don't know, I'm Cinderella, I just want to go to the ball. Like, and I mean, there's an appeal to people knowing that I got invited to the ball, but not at the expense of going to another ball.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, count your blessings. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
So, I am enjoying watching it, you know, but I keep kind of going back to Joanne. We just got a taste, like we just really met her. But what a weird and interesting.
I'm excited to get more if we do. I mean, we must.
Because she seems to kind of adore him as well.
She was also wearing a beautiful purple thing. It was like a dress, but then it had like a sheer caftan over top of it. Ugh. I'm digging it. And
I am too.
And it's beautifully set designed. And the costuming is like amazing. It's because I'm not usually a huge fan of 70s fashions, and most of this is 70s fashions, and like the way they're doing the 70s is unbelievable.
Yeah, but it's like,
even still, I know what you're gonna say. I know that couture doesn't go out of style, but it's
that's actually not what I was gonna say. I do stand by that, but it I feel like so much of that type of fashion is people trying to belong in a space or a place that they're in.
Sure.
And these people belong there. So it's like the 70s is sort of
irrelevant.
Yeah, it's like they are beautiful and fashionable and wealthy and all of that, and it just happens to be the 70s.
Sure.
They are not in the 70s. The 70s is in them.
The 70s is happening around them, but it's like nobody's wearing like bell bottoms and halter tops.
Yeah, like no one's
these women are in their 50s. Yeah, okay.
That white blouse that not Diane Lane, Naomi Watts was wearing when they were walking down the hallway.
Yeah.
And it was kind of ruched. Oh,
yeah,
it was so pretty. And just that, like, that hallway and that marble fireplace, and like, what?
Where is that house in Palm Springs?
I mean, probably everywhere.
Or Palm Beach, not Palm Springs, Palm Beach.
I'm definitely enjoying it. I think I know where we're going. I think I get it. But
you're right. It's not subtle.
it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be.
That's not why I'm here. So, cool. Okay. Well, we will be back next week to eat the same amount.
Yep. Well, half the amount.
Actually, that's very true.
Bye.